Have you ever felt like your career path is a total mess just because you have way too many interests? You're not alone. Today, we're going to break down a really cool way to think about your professional life, and it's called the M-shaped strategy. Does this sound a little too familiar? That nagging feeling that by being interested in basically everything, you're not really becoming an expert in, well, anything. It's super frustrating, right? But what if that whole idea is based on a complete misunderstanding of what might be your greatest strength? So let's start by digging into this, the dilemma of the multi-talented person. Why is it that having a bunch of different interests is so often seen as a problem instead of the asset it could be? And that brings us to the big question for today. Is having a dozen different passions a career curse that's just holding you back? Or is it a secret blessing, a superpower just waiting for you to unlock it? The answer, you'll see, is pretty awesome. Think about it. From when we're kids, people ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they expect one single answer. The world seems to be built for what you'd call an I-shaped professional, someone with really deep knowledge in one specific thing. And all that pressure can make people with broader interests feel like they're just not doing it right. But this is where we flip the script. We're going to pivot away from the so-called problem and start talking about your superpower, because there's a hidden connection between all your different interests, and once you get it, you can turn what feels like a weakness into your biggest professional advantage. And listen, this isn't just some feel-good pep talk. It's actually based on a real scientific concept about how our brains learn and come up with new ideas. It's the secret mechanism that lets you see connections that the specialists might totally miss. And that principle, it's called far transfer. This is the core idea, the secret sauce. It's your brain's incredible ability to take something you learned in one area and apply it to solve a problem in a completely different one. This, right here, is the generalist's secret weapon. Let's make this super clear with an example. Say you play music. Well, learning music trains your brain to recognize really complex patterns and structures. And that exact same skill can then be applied to something totally different, like writing software code. It helps you build more logical, more elegant systems. See? Your random hobbies are actually giving your brain some serious cross-training. Okay, so if far transfer is the engine, what's the car we're going to drive? How do we actually put this power to use? Well, let's get into the framework that pulls it all together, the M-shaped model. Instead of trying to force yourself into that narrow little I shape, this model says, hey, embrace your complexity. You're not a jack of all trades, you're an M-shaped professional. So let's break down what this M actually looks like. The two tall vertical lines of the M, those are your pillars. These are two separate areas where you decide to build deep expertise. But the magic, the real game changer, is in the middle, the bridge. That's the part that connects them, and it's made up of all your other broad interests. And this is the most important part. So get this, all those hobbies and random curiosities you thought were just distractions, they're not. They are the bridge. They are the connective tissue that lets you move ideas and skills between your two main pillars. That bridge is exactly where far transfer happens. It's where the real innovation is born. All right, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually start building this for yourself? Let's get practical. Let's look at how you can start designing your own M-shaped future, like right now. It really boils down to 3 key steps. First, you've got to identify your two pillars. What are 2 different fields you're genuinely passionate about and are willing to go deep in? Second, acknowledge your bridge. That means you embrace all your other interests and start seeing them as your toolkit for innovation. And finally, step 3, you have to actively look for connections. Always be asking yourself, hey, how can what I know about history help me solve this business problem? That's where the breakthroughs happen. So here's the big takeaway. The goal isn't to trim down your interests until you fit neatly into some tiny box someone else made. Nope. The goal is to build a career structure that honors all the different parts of who you are. So stop trying to be an I. Start building your M. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Seriously, take a minute and think about it. What are the 2 areas you're passionate enough about to build into your pillars? And what amazing, unique bridge of interests are you going to build to connect them? The answer could literally change the entire course of your career.